Lingue originali. Abbiamo molte cose da dirvi qui a Lingue Originali ogni settimana prima di lasciarvi all'ascolto delle nostre letture in inglese, in tedesco e in francese. Bentrovati da Dario Albertini, questa è la puntata dedicata alla lingua di William Shakespeare e da qualche settimana in compagnia di Marco Piovaz stiamo leggendo alcuni estratti da Camera con Vista di Forster, titolo originale A Room with a View. Ripercorriamo un attimo la trama, quantomeno la parte iniziale, cosa che avevamo già fatto nel primo episodio, ma che oggi replico a beneficio di chi non abbia seguito gli altri episodi, che comunque potete riascoltare sul podcast e sul canale YouTube di Caffè Italia. Camera con Vista, sì, perché siamo alla pensione Bertolini di Firenze nel 1907. La protagonista, Lucy Honeychurch, è una giovane inglese in viaggio in Italia con la sua anziana cugina Charlotte Bartlett e arriva a Firenze. Arriva a Firenze e scopre con lei, con grande delusione, che ciò che vede dalla finestra della camera non è quanto avrebbe voluto. Le camere non erano quelle che lei e sua cugina avevano prenotato. Il fiume Arno non si vede. Viene loro in soccorso Mr. Emerson con suo figlio George, il quale offre loro le loro stanze. Una proposta che quasi scandalizza Lucy, che inizialmente rifiuta con fermezza. Lucy è una ragazza molto sveglia, intelligente, animata da una passione fremente che poi emerge nel corso della storia e che ha come suoi momenti principali in cui viene espressa quelli in cui la giovane si siede al pianoforte e intona Beethoven. Non dico altro. Vi lascio a Marco Piovaz con un nuovo estratto da Camera con Vista, titolo originale A Room with a View. Buon ascolto.
Poor young man, said Miss Bartlett as soon as he had gone. How angry he is with his father about the rooms. It is all he can do to keep polite. In half an hour or so your rooms will be ready, said Mr. Beebe. Then, looking rather thoughtfully at the two cousins, he retired to his own room to write up his philosophic diary. Oh dear, breathed the little old lady, and shuddered, as if all the winds of heaven had entered the apartment. Gentlemen sometimes do not realize. Her voice faded away, but Miss Bartlett seemed to understand, and a conversation developed in which gentlemen who did not thoroughly realize plays the principal part. Lucy, not realizing either, was reduced to literature. Taking up Pediceur's Handbook to Northern Italy, she committed to memory the most important dates of Florentine history, for she was determined to enjoy herself on the morrow. Thus the half-hour crept profitably away, and at last Miss Bartlett rose with a sigh and said, I think one might venture now. No, Lucy, do not stir. I will superintend the move. How do you do everything? Said Lucy. Naturally, dear. It is my affair. But I would like to help you. No, dear. Charlotte's energy and her unselfishness. She had been thus all her life, but really, on this Italian tour, she was surpassing herself. So Lucy felt, or strove to feel. And yet, there was a rebellious spirit in her which wondered whether the acceptance might not have been less delicate and more beautiful. At all events, she entered her own room without any feeling of joy. "I want to explain," said Miss Bartlett, "why it is that I have taken the largest room. Naturally, of course, I should have given it to you, but I happen to know that it belongs to the young men, and I was sure your mother would not like it." Lucy was bewildered. "If you are to accept a favour, it is more suitable you should be under an obligation to his father than to him. I am a woman of the world in my small way, and I know where things lead to. However, Mr. Beebe is a guarantee of a sort that they will not presume on this." "Mother wouldn't mind, I'm sure," said Lucy, but again had the sense of larger and unsuspected issues. Miss Bartlett only sighed and enveloped her in a protecting embrace as she wished her good night. It gave Lucy the sensation of a fog, and when she reached her own room, she opened the window and breathed the clean night air, thinking of the kind old man who had enabled her to see the lights dancing in the Arno, and the cypresses of San Miniato, and the foothills of the Apennines back against the rising moon. Miss Bartlett, in her room, fastened the window shutters and locked the door, and then made a tour of the apartment to see where the cupboards led, and whether there were any oubliettes or secret entrances. It was then that she saw, pinned up over the washstand, a sheet of paper on which was scrawled an enormous note of interrogation. Nothing more. "What does it mean?" she thought, and she examined it carefully by the light of a candle. Meaningless at first, it gradually became menacing, obnoxious, portentous with evil. She was seized with an impulse to destroy it, but fortunately remembered that she had no right to do so, since it must be the property of young Mr. Emerson. So she unpinned it carefully and put it between two pieces of blotting paper to keep it clean for him. Then she completed her inspection of the room, sighed heavily according to her habit, and went to bed.
A Lingue Originali, Marco Piovaz ha letto per voi in lingua inglese. Lo ritroveremo su Caffè Italia la prossima settimana, venerdì, sempre alle ore 22. Ma Lingue Originali è in onda anche il sabato con Nadia Meroni, con la lettura in lingua tedesca, e la domenica con Barbara Marchand, per quella in lingua francese. Vi ringraziamo per l'ascolto e vi diamo appuntamento a Lingue Originali fra 7 giorni, sempre su Caffè Italia, la radio e il podcast dall'aroma italiano, e non solo. Lingue Originali.